Hey, Nook Nation, welcome to a brand new episode of One on One. Our guest this week, he was a part of the 2013 South Division champion Lakeshore Chinooks, and more importantly, he is a member of the Arizona Diamondbacks, our most recent call up to the majors. He is Alex Young. Alex, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So let's kind of dive right into it. Back in March, you guys were in the middle of spring training, and then everything suddenly got postponed. Where were you when everything kind of got shut down, and where you been kind of holding up since?
So whenever we kind of got word that spring training was kind of come to a halt, I remember our pitching coach was like, "Yeah, this is probably our last bullpen for a while." So I was like, "All right." So I threw like 50 pitches, and that was like May 9th, I think. And then kind of after that, it was just kind of eerie. No one really knew what was going on. Guys were coming in groups, and then probably like 3 days later, I had left for Dallas. I just drove basically the whole day, just because I figured, this thing's probably going to be longer than we think it is at that time. So I've been holding down the fort down in they're out in Dallas right now. So.
And like I said, you guys are in the middle of spring training. You guys are getting ready for the season. How have you been keeping in playing shape and training until baseball returns?
Yeah, so I have some workout equipment that I use. I'll do body workouts, anything to just kind of, move around. I bought a Peloton about a month ago just to kind of keep myself disciplined in that way. If I didn't want to go outside and run, I can just get on a bike and, ride for 30 minutes. And then, I have a bullpen mound that I bought so I can throw bullpens in the backyard and throw it to like a pocket, basically as my catcher. And so I just have a little pitching lab in my backyard that I've been using. So, it's been nice. Obviously I want to leave the house and, see all the guys and, play catch with them and, work out with them. But, I think this is easier for me. So.
How else have you been passing the time? Binge watching TV, video games? How do you keep busy when you're not training?
Yeah, lots of new shows that I thought I would never watch. And then also, playing Fortnite, Warzone, walking the dogs. Stuff that, it feels it's good to, kind of get to do, in this obviously weird time. So it's been fun, but it's also been, all right, I'm ready to get back to playing baseball.
Sure.
Alex, testing your memory a little bit and going back to when you were a Chinook in 2013, when you first arrived on scene for what was about a month-long stay with the franchise, do you remember what your mindset was? I know every player kind of comes with a goal in mind, like, hey, I want to work on this aspect of my game. Do you remember what your mindset was coming to the Chinooks?
Yeah, I was coming off a really good year, my freshman year, and but in terms of our season, it wasn't really a good season. We went 29-28, and so for me, it was just kind of staying healthy and keep pitching, and get into that starter role. And so that was my goal. Obviously, it only lasted a month. I wish it, was longer, but I was young and I didn't really, know what was going on with, certain things, with my health. And so they decided to shut me down, but it was still fun to be able to get there for, at least a month.
What are some of your memories and takeaways from that experience?
I had a great host family. Good host family. I love the guys that I played with. There's some guys that I keep in contact or, kind of, through Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. And then, my favorite thing was probably the post-game food, where it was either the concession food or that Mexican place right across the highway. And then, yeah. And then the bus rides. It was cool getting to go play like in Madison, which I was like, this atmosphere is so badass. So it was kind of like a minor league experience too. Playing every single day, bus rides, staying in hotels. It was pretty cool.
3 out of your 4 pitching performances occurred at home at Capco Park, and it's been dubbed more of a pitcher defensive friendly ballpark. Did you find that to be true? From what you recall from your time pitching at Capco Park, was it friendlier from a pitching standpoint?
Yeah, I thought it was, from what I can remember. because I felt like that outfield plays so big. Even when the wind was blowing, I mean, you're right on the lake. So, I mean, I thought, yeah, I had a couple of runs saved just because of how big that ballpark plays.
So now fast forward by 2015, you're drafted in the second round by the Arizona Diamondbacks. You're in the minors from 2015 through part of 2019. Kind of take us through the highs and lows of that journey, which I know also included overcoming an injury.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. Starting 2015, obviously, I'm feeling good, everything, going into that little short stint. And then coming into the 2016 spring training, I felt great. Something, towards the end of spring training, just didn't feel right for me. Didn't really think anything of it. And then I think it was like my third or fourth start in King County, um, is where, I felt something in my arm and I didn't know what it was. And I think I thought it was worse than what it was. And, I rehabbed for about a month or so. And I feel like that kind of set me back, to get where I wanted to be. And it was at that point, after, getting back, healthy, I thought it was a mental journey after that, where I was basically, battling against myself, telling myself, this is what you need to do. You definitely can get there. Like, you've proven yourself before. And so it was kind of just, taking each step each way, the whole way. And, every season I felt like was a grind for me. And when I got that call, I felt like it was just a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. And I felt like I could go out there and just kind of prove what I've been doing my whole life.
So during your time in the minors, did you have a favorite affiliate to play for?
I mean, I love playing for King County, just, being close to home. I love the ballpark. I love the people, associated with King County. I also I loved Hillsborough a lot. I mean, they were probably my favorite front office. I mean, they were super supportive. They were awesome. Um, they were super excited just to see us every day. And it's a winning culture too, especially, guys coming right out of college for the most part. And our team was so dominant. And I think they've won it like 3 out of the last like 6 years. Um, and it's a really cool place outside of Portland. But I mean, I love Visalia. I love Jackson too. I mean, so I mean, I've in Reno. I mean, I've loved all the places I've played, but probably Hillsborough and King County are my two favorite.
So in June of 2019, you get the call up by Arizona. How did you find out? How was your reaction? You just kind of alluded to it. You've overcome so much, and then now all of a sudden you're starting to realize this big league dream.
Yeah. So I found out I was actually starting against the Rockies AAA team. I threw 2 innings, or maybe it was 3 innings, and I came out of the game, and our manager was like, "Hey, you're done," and I was like, I'm fine though. Like I'm doing good. I have, a couple strikeouts, no runs given up, all this stuff. So I'm like, I feel great. Like, and he's like, well, there's some stuff that has happened up top. So, good things are going to come to you, hopefully here soon. And so I was just like a million thoughts ran through my head and I didn't really know what to think. And, one of my buddies, Matt Caesar, who, kind of Chicago Cubs great, back in those 15, 16 years. He was on the team at the time and he was fired up for me and we were really close. And he's like, dude, why aren't you on a plane already? I'm like, I have no idea what's going on right now. And it wasn't until like 2 days later where they called me after the game. My manager did. And he was like, hey, the plan is for you to start against San Francisco. And San Francisco, you'll be on a plane tomorrow. You'll go meet with the team in Arizona, work out. And then 2 days later, fly with the team to San Francisco. And at that point, when I remember being on the plane to Arizona, and it just didn't feel real. And till this day, it still hasn't hit me. It was just I just kind of went with it. I just kind of coasted with it. So it's just it's still surreal to me, I guess.
Let's dig deeper into that debut on June 27th of 2019 at San Francisco. And how did you prepare for that moment? And I guess, what do you remember about that night on the Bay?
I mean, it was awesome. I mean, my family was there. the night before, so we went out to go eat, and my tradition before I start is to eat pizza, which probably isn't the best routine, but I've done it since college and it's worked for me. So we went to this little Italian place. I wasn't really nervous. I was more excited. And then, I just had the same routine, same preparation I've done every single time I go out there to pitch. I didn't want to change anything just because, it was the big leagues. So for me, I just kept everything the same. You know, kept my emotions under control, my breathing, all that stuff under control. I didn't let, there's a couple times where, I could have easily, let the situation, ruin my outing. And I didn't do that. I kept making pitches. And so for me, that's what I was like, okay, like, I belong here. And I remember talking to a reporter after, and I told him, I was like, I've prepared my whole life for this moment. I'm not going to let this moment, be too big for me just because I'm up here and it's, the best of the best. I want to show people that I belong here.
And you certainly showed it this past summer, including a 12 strikeout performance at Cincinnati. You'd strike out 9 against the eventual champion Washington Nationals. What are some of the highlights for you from this past summer?
Yeah. Yeah. Some of those games, the Nationals game was tough because I remember I had the only hit in that game too, because we were getting no hit. And I'm like, wow, I mean, out of all the people, like I get the hit. And, we ended up losing that game. But probably the most fun I had was, obviously my first game, and then probably Cincinnati, just because, I had so many family members there. I think I had like 50 family members on my dad's side. And it was a game where, we were still in the hunt for the playoffs. And so, it was like we won the night before, and, we kind of just had to keep this going. We were on like a winning streak. And so I was like, I can't let down right now. So I think for me, just kind of showing the older guys and showing the coaching staff, like, to trust me, in these moments. And I thought, regardless of how many strikeouts I had, I just want to go out there and, prove to them, this is where I belong, and I want to be able to help the team out any way possible.
So what's the best piece of advice that you've received thus far in the big leagues? I guess take it a step further, what advice maybe do you have for guys that are gearing up to play in the Northwoods League?
Something that I, kind of learned was, and even guys who have been up there for a while, guys who may have big egos and kind of do their own thing, they just say, just keep doing what you're doing. Don't change because you're up here. And I thought that, that made me feel a lot better, because I felt like, guys get up there and they change their routine, they change how they act and all this stuff. And so for me, I didn't want to, change any of that. I just wanted to, be the same person. I wanted to, keep my routine the same, because that's what got me here. So I'm not going to change just because of that. So, it was the reassurance of someone saying that to me, made me feel a lot better. And then in terms of, preparing to go into the Northwoods League, I would say, I mean, it's like minor league baseball in terms of, the schedule, not really the host families and, kind of all the other aspects. I think it's super cool. It's a fun place to play. I love it there. I think all the, the cities you go to are really cool. Um, but I mean, most guys for the most part are going to be like freshmen, sophomores, kind of the highly touted guys. And so, I mean, I think, Northwoods League and the Cape League are the 2 best leagues in my opinion. Um, so I mean, I think it's, it's going to be competitive. So I think, just kind of going out there and doing what you've been doing.
Who was your host family that summer when you were with us?
Uh, oh man, they're gonna be mad at me. I can't remember exactly. I have their number and everything in my phone book. I can't remember who it was, but they had one son, and they lived in Whitefish Bay. I'm trying
Okay.
to think of who it is. Yeah.
It
I don't
was a
know if
long
they're
time
still
ago. It was almost
yeah,
10 years ago.
like,
So
yeah, it was like 7 years ago. And I'm trying to think of who it yeah, and I haven't talked to them in a couple of years. But yeah, they're awesome though. I mean, their son was awesome. He was a lot younger than me, but he told me, he's like, I always wanted an older brother. So, I wanted to help him out, just kind of hang out with him. any way possible.
So just a few fan questions that we got to wrap things up. The first one was actually a question I have. So back on July 7th this past year, you got a no through 6. This is from Sam. What were your thoughts when you got pulled, and when did you realize you started at a no-hitter going?
That's probably the most asked question I get. I think I knew like in the 3rd or 4th inning, because I remember I walked the catcher, and for some reason I just thought like I gave up a hit or something, so I didn't even realize till like the 3rd or 4th. And then whenever I got pulled, I mean, there was nothing I could say or do really. I mean, it was my 3rd game at the time, so I didn't really have much say. If I had more time, and Tori always jokes around with me, he's like, I hate myself for pulling you. And I'm like, I mean, we won the game. Like in terms of, baseball history, like who knows what could have happened if I went out there. But I mean, the next guy that came in gave up a hit the first batter. So it's kind of funny. But I think at that point, if I had more games under my belt, I probably would have said something.
What do you like best about the Phoenix area?
I love it. I love the food there. The culture is awesome. There's honestly a lot of, the things I have in Chicago or in the Phoenix area, which helps me out. I love that. It's just a really nice place. I mean, I love the Scottsdale area. That's where I stay the whole year, whenever I'm not out here in Texas. But, I mean, I love it, though. I mean, there's so much to do. You can go golfing, even when it's 100 degrees out. Golf's so cheap there. So there's just a lot to do, and I like it a lot.
Last question comes from James. Do you have a favorite away ballpark to play at?
Ooh, well, I was really excited for Wrigley Field this year. Obviously, growing up in it, going to games, that was one I was looking forward to. But one that I've played in so far would probably be Yankee Stadium. Just seeing, so many games on TV and actually being able to, play in it. Well, I mean, I didn't get to pitch, but, just sitting in the dugout, it was just super cool. I went to the memorial in the back, just kind of walked around, and it was just like, this is crazy how many, legends have played at this stadium. So that's probably my favorite one so far. I mean, there's so many stadiums that are really cool. I love Dodger Stadium. The atmosphere there is probably the best I've ever seen. I mean, it is crazy every single game. So,
well, we enjoyed watching you for the month that you were here back in 2013, and we wish you nothing but the best when you guys are able to play baseball again and all the future years ahead of you in your career.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
All right, thanks for joining us. He's Alex Young of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Voice of the Chinooks, Matt Menzel. I'm Eric Snodgrass, and we will see you right here next week on a brand new episode of One on One. Thanks for tuning in.